Grand Rising family, Grand Rising. I hope all is well. Welcome to HGW Community 72. The HGW stands for Homegrown Wellness 72. I am Miss B, Bohemian Soul. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, thank you for tuning in. If you are a subscriber, thank you for tuning back in. If this video encourages, clarifies, reaches, explains some things to you, please share it with someone that you love, someone that you think will benefit from it. That's what the purpose of this channel, my channel, is to encourage, to strengthen, to expose, to enlighten my viewers. So the title of this video is Sistahs Regardless. It takes two for a thing to work or not. What prompted this title? So on May 27th, I did a video. I did a live and on my TikTok channel, and then I posted it on my YouTube channel. And the reason why I remember this date, May 27th, that I did this video that prompted this video, is because I'm a small channel. And I literally just checked that video that I did on May 27th, which was entitled, Why Black Women Choose Not to Remarry a Second, Third, or even possibly a fourth channel. A fourth time, not a fourth channel. And I've gotten 4,966 views from that video as of maybe 2 minutes ago before I started this. And for me and my channel, I only have 197 subscribers. That's pretty huge. And so I want to say thank you for all that have viewed that video, that have shared. And thank you really too for all that have made comments. I think I have like over 270 comments. And that's what this is all about. It's about opening up conversation. It's about starting dialogue with the community. So regardless if those comments were good, bad, or indifferent, I'm grateful for them. So in that video, I made a statement that regardless, it takes two for a thing to work or not. And I've gotten maybe 5 or 6 comments from that particular statement in that particular video. And it really sparked, and I really want to break down why I made that statement. It takes two for a thing to work or not, because I had a few people mention like, no, they've said, no, it doesn't take two. And this is just my viewpoint of why I feel it takes two for a thing to work or not. So someone said, nope, it doesn't take two. Another person stated, well, you don't know what it's like to be married to a narcissist. And basically, there was some comments or deflection on basically it was the other individual as to why their marriage or their relationship didn't work. So I'm already 4 minutes in and I don't want this to go long, right? So sisters, because most of my content that I create, it's really geared towards women, to help us navigate through this life, right? But I really speak from a Black woman's viewpoint. So a lot of things that I discuss, it's coming from a Black woman's viewpoint. It's dealing with Black relationships, Black families, Black life issues. So The title of this is Sisters, I Am Sorry to Say, but regardless, it takes two for a thing to work or not. And I say that and I live by that because that was something that my mother taught me when I was a young girl. You know, my parents divorced when I was 12. My brother was 17. And my mother never made it seem as if the reason why they divorced was just because of my dad. Yes, my dad committed adultery, which he had done. Now listen to this, which he had affairs throughout their 19-year marriage. But, you know, this particular time, it led to him having a child. And so at that point, my mother was like, you know, I'm done. This is it. We're divorced. But my mom, and she was such a great, fair, transparent person. She really set the groundwork for me in becoming a woman and going through life, understanding that it's never one-sided. The blame or the success, it's never one person. And she told me, Tanya, it takes two. That's my name. It takes two for a thing to work or not. And my grandmother said that too. And so to give some examples, I'm going to give some examples, but I'm also going to bring it back personally and why I made the statement. So, and why I live by it. So, you know, Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye made an awesome song, right? I think it was like maybe back in the 60s. But I remember listening to my parents play it growing up. And I was born in the early 70s. It takes two to make a dream come true. Right? I'm not a singer by any means. And there was some key words in that song. But there was always conversation going on between Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. And they were always giving examples of what, from this side, the man's perspective and the woman's perspective. But the end result was it took two of them to make a dream come true. Right? It takes two, baby. It takes two. Just me and you. So I'm really going to focus two comments that I got from that video. And one sister was like, you know, you give, and I'm assuming it was the sister. I was going by the name, and one of them had their picture, so I knew it was the sister. And then another person, just her name, title, I'm assuming it was. And in her comment, she said, you have no idea what it's like. First of all, you don't know, like, what type of individual or man I was married to. But she said, you have no idea what it's like to be married to a narcissist. And she had this little, like, purple demon with the little horns up. And, you know, and I get it. I get it, because I don't know how early on it's been for her since she's been divorced, you know, so she could be in that very hurtful stage, right? That new divorce stage. And, you know, there's a lot of emotion and feelings that come with, you know, ending a relationship, marriage ending, right? There's different phases of emotions that we go through, and I get it. I was married for 14 years and separated March of last year and divorced December of last year. So I get it. But I did a video on this same subject, but I spoke to the part in which I played in the divorce, because we play a part. It's never one-sided. A relationship can never be successful or unsuccessful based on one individual, because it's two people in the relationship. So it can't just be one-sided. It can't be successful because of just the man. It can't be just unsuccessful because of the woman. So the part in which, well, before I get to the part in which I played in my marriage being unsuccessful, even in the relationship of you and your employer, right? Let's just say, you've been on a job for 15 years and you've done the trainings, you've done the certification to move up to the next level. And there's a new position coming up. And so you're more than qualified. So you go for that position. You interview for that position. You and say 6 other candidates interview for that position. And you don't get it. So you have now come to the decision, it is time for me to end my relationship with this company, with this corporation. And you may be very bitter about leaving. And you may say to yourself, like, I know I should have gotten it, but I didn't. And you blame it all on the corporation for not choosing you. But what part did you play in it? Right? More than likely, if you've been at a place for 15 years, you were warned. There's a great scripture in the Bible, in the good book, right, that says warning comes before destruction, right? And then the word also says that the Lord will not have you ignorant concerning the devices of who? Satan, right? So this is not a preachy channel by all means. However, and I'm not calling, your bosses or your ex man, husband, Satan by all means. But the great thing about the good Lord is, let's go back to that job. If you've been on that job, you've been on that job for 15 years, more than likely 10 years or 5 years prior, when you were at that 10-year mark, you were you were at a crossroad. And more than likely, you had a decision to make. And that was because something more than likely happened, to stay or to go. You chose to stay. Same thing in a relationship. So I'm going to bring it personal, and I'm going to wrap this up. We have, as women, let me say that, as women, we're nurturers, we're givers. That's just our genetic makeup. That's just how the Lord has made us. We're caretakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just who we are. And so a lot of times when we overextend ourselves in a relationship and it doesn't work out, we become very bitter and we point the finger to the man as to why it didn't work out. And growing up the way that I grew up, and my mother instilling that in me, it takes two for a thing to work or not. I just always had a different way of looking at things. And so, me bringing this whole video home, coming to the end. I was married for 14 years. The marriage ended because it was no longer safe for myself, for our children, nor for him. It was no longer a safe space. It was no longer a safe relationship. Emotionally, soulfully, and physically, for us to continue in the marriage. And that's why the marriage ended. It was no longer a safe space. It was no longer a safe environment for the family. That's why my marriage ended. Now, 14 years. What part did I play in it ending? And this is the part, sisters, that we need to, or what part did I play in it no longer existing? Or yes, in it ending. Because I did play a part. And sisters, we need to get this. Regardless if he cheated, he became abusive, you realize he was a narcissist, he was a liar, he was a thief, he was an abuser. What are some of the other reasons why we end the marriage? And most of the time, 90%, 95% of the time, when a marriage or relationship comes to an end, it is us, the sisters, who end it. Right? But what part did I play in the marriage ending and no longer being successful? The part that I played is I stayed too long. I know some of you watching now are like, what? You were thinking I was going to come up with this grandiose explanation like I cheated. No, I did not. I never even looked at, while I was married to my husband, I only had eyes for him, no other man. Did I see other men that were attractive? Well, I would be a liar to say, well, no. But I never looked at another man and lusted. And, ooh, I wonder who. No, because I had my husband. And all of that was being fulfilled with my husband. Because I adored him and I basked in being his wife and loved it. Loved everything about it. But like I said earlier, the Lord gives us warning before destruction. Right? We all come to a crossroad in whatever the relationship is. And we know either we stay or we go. So, my part that I played in my 14-year marriage to my ex-husband is I stayed. I ignored the red flags in year 7. And I looked at, oh, well, we got children, we got young children. It's not going to be fair to them for me to end the marriage, even though these red flags are going on or starting or becoming more frequent. Arguing, disagreeing, not talking to each other, going to bed upset with each other, I started doing things that I said I would never do in the beginning of the marriage. And when you as a woman get to the point where you just don't care, you're not arguing, you're not fighting for the relationship, you're looking at him, or I was looking at him in year 7. I'm keeping it real. Married for 14 years. By year 7, I was looking at him like, yo, listen, I don't even care. And, you know, a lot of times if we were arguing, I would be like, oh, I don't care. And for me and for us to get to that point, we are speaking where we really are in a relationship. And shame on us, shame on me for staying and not ending it, because it was really unfair to him and to the children to be selfish because I wanted to say that my marriage is or will work. It will be successful. When I know very well in year 7, I don't care. Listen, I'm not arguing with you. I don't care if you're saying to me some really not nice things, and I'm just letting it roll off my back. That was crazy to stay and to accept that type of behavior from my ex-husband. And it was unfair for me to give that or reciprocate that behavior, that feeling to him. Because in year 7, I should have ended it. In year 7, I shouldn't have waited. I shouldn't have stayed 7 more years for the negativity, for the unsafety of the family to elevate and to get worse. So that is the part in which I played in the marriage ending. I stayed, and I shouldn't have, and I knew I shouldn't have. Because when you get to a point as a woman, sisters, hear me, when you get to a point you're in a relationship and you know you just don't give a, you don't give a damn, and you stay, it's very selfish. I was being very, very selfish because I wanted to say, oh, I have a successful marriage. We've been married 20, 25 years. But we didn't make it that long. But the last, 10 years have been hell and unsafe for your spouse, your children if you have some, and for yourself. Mentally, it was an unsafe space. So that's what this is all about. That's what I wanted to talk to. Everybody plays a part in something working or not working. It takes 2 for everything. Nothing in life, no relationship in life is ever one-sided. Family, listen, remember, be great to yourself because you are great. Be great to your family that deserve your greatness. Be great to your community. Without love, self-love first, we have absolutely nothing. Please, if you are not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. Share this video with a family member or a friend, a girlfriend, a sister cousin that you feel that this will speak to. It will resonate with. Please get in the comments section. Share your comments on this. I really appreciate it. Family, again, clarity is key, but without consistency, we have no balance. Family, be well.